This is Dirshu Mishnah Beruraha as we continue playing catch up, picking it up in Siman Kuf Ches, dealing with the halachas of tefillah, and particularly when one does not daven and the dinim of tashlumim. So we're holding in Sif Beis, in which the Mechaber begins. Tav lo yispalu mincha. So yesterday in Sif Aleph we dealt with one who did not daven shachris, he davens two minchas. The first one is mincha, and the second one is tashlumim, that critical din that we can't forget. Number two, says the Mechaber, Sif Beis, Tav lo yispalu mincha. Now we're dealing with one that did not daven mincha. Mispalel arvish tayim. You daven ma'ariv twice. Harisha in arvis, vashniya tashlumim, and obviously there's an extra element of chiddush over here. That ma'ariv begins the new day. So maybe one would think you daven ma'ariv, you can't have tashlumim. Says the Mechaber, no. First ma'ariv, and then the second one is tashlumim for mincha. Tav lo yispal arvis. Let's say you do not daven ma'ariv. Hispalo shachar shtayim, harishon shachar shniya tashlumim. So shachar is mincha ma'ariv. If any of the three tefillos, one was ta, nenas, he was an oines, unavoidable mishap, or he made a mistake, not a shoygig, not that he was just careless, then he's allowed to daven two of the next tefillah, the first one being that tefillah, and the second one being tashlumim. Continues the Mechaber, Lacha shamar yoitzer u'shmona esrei. Turning over the page over here, Shmona Esrei bracha is then Yomer Ashrei. Va'acher kach yisval Shmona Esrei tashlumei arvis. Is a halacha that we saw mentioned in the Mishnah Beruraha back, I don't know, Siman Kuf Beis, Kuf Gimel, in which the whole Siman over there was you're not allowed to daven two tefillos of Shmona Esrei back to back, and you have to be waiting a bit in between. And the Mishnah Beruraha there pointed out that you say Ashrei in between each one. So over here says the Mechaber, you daven ma'ariv. Then what do? You say Ashrei, and then you daven ma'ariv again. Similarly, if you miss mincha, you daven ma'ariv two times. You're ma'ashrei bein tefillah tefillah. So over here, Sif Beis is teaching us that when one is davening tashlumim, he has to say Ashrei between each tefillah. So we begin in the Mishnah Beruraha Sif Katan Yod Shachar Shtayim Va'asar Lechol Kodim Sheis Bala Shniya. So you miss ma'ariv. You daven two shachris, says the Mishnah Beruraha. So the first shachris is shachris. The second shachris is ma'ariv. Also, lechol, you're not allowed to eat kodim sheisbal hashniya before you daven the second shachris. Continues the Mishnah Beruraha. Why? The akvar yigiyazmano, because the time of the tefillah has come. You're davening tashlumim now for last night's ma'ariv, so you can't eat yet. V'mischal einay paisik. Even if you messed up and you started eating, you have to stop to daven the ma'ariv from last night. You have to have the two tefillos back to back, not completely back to back, because we just mentioned you have to have a slight pause in between, but you should not have, I shall say, too much of a break in between them. You should have no hafsik between the two Shmona Esreis. You shouldn't even learn. As we saw in the previous siman, that the hashlama has to be while you're dealing with the chiyuv. So you just daven your chiyuv shachris, now you do your hashlama of last night's ma'ariv. You just daven your chiyuv mincha, you do your hashlama of shachris. Umikal Maka, I'm near a lead, the Chazar Tashash al Tfilas Achiyuvim Mutalik Shmaya Kaidem. Says the Mishnah Beruraha, it's nearer. You're allowed to listen to Chazar Tashatz. Let's say, for example, you miss ma'ariv, so you're davening Shachris twice. So you say the first Shmona Esrei, now you have to say the second Shmona Esrei for ma'ariv. But the Chazin, the Tzibor, is doing what? They're having Chazar Tashatz. Says Mishnah Beruraha, you're allowed to listen. It's called dealing with tefillah. Shema ar zarua. Shmona Esrei brachas if katin beis rotzalaimer. Ema tachlin shemachazeh. Says Mishnah Beruraha, tachlin goes together with shachris. Tein lafsik when Shmona Esrei tachlin. You never want to be mafsik between Shmona Esrei and tachlin. As tachlin goes back to back over Shmona Esrei. So Shmona Esrei, tachlin, and now you're about to say your second Shmona Esrei. What do you do before your second Shmona Esrei, which again is the Shmona Esrei of last night's ma'ariv? Says Mishnah Beruraha Sivkotin Yud Gimel Yomer Ashrei. Kedei lamoid gam betfilas tashlumim mitoich divrei tanchumim shel Torah. That you never have ba'akashos, you never have a Shmona Esrei by itself. You always want to have some level of tachanunim beforehand. Says the Dirshu over here, note number 25, even though you say, you just said tachlun, we just said. So why isn't that enough? Says the Megadim, that's not considered divrei Torah regarding this. So, and this is not such a non halacha. When you're doing tashlumim, what happens? Shachris, tachnun, ashrei, then the next shachris. Ukanel Shmona Esrei, Siman Tzadi Gimel. V'gam Tabalav Yisarach Leimer Ashrei Kodem Lamanatzeach. You have to say Ashrei before Lamanatzeach. Well, let's see on Yamrenu Achshav Leimer Achshav. So say it now. Don't say it then. Vayim b'achronish eskimu du'a dinim isal mincha shtayim b'shalosh lama. You meshach zidavni mincha 2 times. Yamergan kein oidapam Ashrei Kodem Tefillah Shniya. Say Ashrei a second time. Chol ze urak lechatchilo. Avol Medina in Torah Avsaka b'Tefillah Tefillah. Rak the Hilach Arba Amos, which comes the Elsim in Kovei, as we just referenced, that you need to have a slight break. And Dirshu Mishnah note number 26 quotes from Chaim Kanievsky in the Sefer Isha Yisrael, which, by the way, anyone looking for a good sefer on the halachas of tefillah, that is the foremost sefer, Talmud of Rav Nurth, the Shmir Shabbos. If you didn't wait, you should wait and you share Kedusha. But Arvis, you wait for Kaddish. He adds on over there. You're allowed to daven the second Shmona Esrei together with the Sheikh Sibur and answer Kedusha. So that's a nice chap. So what are you going to do? Again, you missed Ma'ariv. So you daven 2 shachrises. So what do? You daven shachris number 1. So now we just saw what you do, tachlin, ashri, next shachris. But Chaim Kanievsky over here is adding on that you're allowed to daven together with the sibur your second Shmona Esrei, because then it's going to be considered at some level of tefillah bit sibur, and you can even get kedusha. Now, not clear from this note over here. We have to look at the sefer. Does this mean not to say tachlin and ashrei? Meaning, let's say I said my first Shmona Esrei, and I finished before the chazan. It would seem I should say tachlin myself, ashrei myself, and then I can do the next Shmona Esrei with the chazan to get this maila of tefillah bit sibur. Sivkot and yadal. But again, if one doesn't do the ashrei tachlin, as long as he takes a break between the 2 Shmona Esreis, he is yoytze midina. Sivkot and yadal bein v'chulu. So this is going in the words of the Ramah. The Ramah said, and even when you're davening Ma'ariv 2 times, you say Ashrei between each one. So it comes out that you're having Ashrei between each and every tefillah, Shachris, Mincha, Ma'ariv. The Shmur is explaining what's the reason, because you usually have Ashrei before Mincha. Says Mishnah Beruraha, the Ar Mekubalim, who are we quoting over here? He's quoting the Bachlan Bagan Avram, that quote Mekubalim that say you don't say Ashrei at night by Ma'ariv time. Even though you're saying the Ashrei for Mincha, whichever way you do it is fine. Even at any time it's day, you should always say Ashrei. Okay, and this is a unfortunate, very common halach. In this achar, you come a little bit late, and you come and they already started Shmona Esrei. You probably might be a Ashrei achar kach. You daven with them, say Ashrei afterwards. Ayin Magen Avram shekasav Timidivri Azera Mashat Afilu by Vinzel Yamru Adaita Dechayva Rak Kikayir Batayra. You should say Ashrei afterwards, only Kikayir Batayra, not that it is a Chiyuv. Let's just quickly see some dirshus over here before we call it a day. Sarach Laimar. This is if you missed Mincha, you davening 2 Ma'arivs. So the first reason to say Ashrei is because you need it before Mincha. But Ach Laimar Tachlin Ba'Leila, we learned that it's forbidden. So therefore, there's no tzad to say Tachlin now, even though you're davening Mincha. That's not a question. The only question is, should you say Ashrei? Now, the Mishnah Beruraha, the Dirshu number 28 over here, quotes the Mishnah Beruraha backwards Siman Kofei, which anyone who has chazer there probably was wondering. We just said that it sounds like you could say Ashrei 3 times, Shachris Mincha Ma'ariv. And then he quoted Derech Chaim, said whatever you do, you're fine. So Dirshu points out that the Mishmur over there is mashma not to say Ashrei and Meir. If you look at the Mishmur over there, it sounds like only Shachris Mincha, but at nighttime you wouldn't say Ashrei. But again, the Mishmur over here is paskin like Derech Chaim, that if you do, it is fine. And now he continues and he quotes the Kaf HaChaim, that if you're mashlim Mincha by Shachris, meaning if you daven 2 minchas, one for Shachris, don't say Ashrei before the second tefillah. Why? Because it's after mincha. But the Mishnah Beruraha that we just quoted said you say Ashrei after mincha. So halacha l'maisa, it does come out, perhaps a halacha that not many people know, that one should be saying Ashrei in between, definitely tashlumim of mincha and ma'ariv, meaning any time you're doing a tashlumim during the daytime, you should be saying Ashrei between each tefillah. If one does not, he is yaitze b'diavad, as we quoted that the Me'ikar Adin is just to say the Shemona Esrei 2 times. But that is the lechatchila to say by Shachar, say and by Mincha Tachlan, and then Ashrei. And as well, we're learning the halacha. If one comes late to shul and you miss Mincha, you could say it after Shemona Esrei. We'll just point out that the same reason why we're saying Ashrei in a serious situation of Tashlum is because you always want Ashrei with your Shemona Esrei, is the reason not to show up late to Mincha. Because if you show up late to Mincha, and you miss that Ashrei, then you have a Mincha without an Ashrei. Okay, you say it afterwards a little bit, but you always want to begin Shemona Esrei from Tachanun and Shal Torah. And we continue with Sif Gimel. Ha de mashma tefillah she'ifsid, that which you are mashlim, the tefillah that you missed, dafka bizman tefillah, b'shah she'in zman tefillah, loy. So what exactly does that mean? Says the Mishnah Beruraha, Sif Katan Tez Vav, bizman tefillah. Yesh me'achron she'katzu sharatz alaymar. Toloi tiknu chazal tefillas hashlama rak ba'idena oisik b'tfilaso yikarit achar sheshah k'dei hilach arba'am as asher b'intayin. This is similar to what we saw in the previous sif. That the tashlumim is only a piggyback. Tashlumim doesn't exist in a vacuum. You can't say, oh no, I missed davening shachris, I already davened mincha, it's 2 hours later, I'm going to daven shachris now. No! Tashlumim is only when it piggybacks together with a tefillah. Aval, continues Mishnah Beruraha, quoting the Maimar Mordechai Chayad the Magin Giboyrim, Harbe Achorim Eskimu After Lechatchila. Bevadis are Lizar B'zel Tfilas Hashlama Tekev Achar Tfilas HaChiyuvim. Lechatchila, the Tashlumim should be together with the Chiyuv. Aval B'di'evet, says the Mishnah Beruraha, Einoi me'akev rakim over zman tefillah. What does that mean? Dainu. Lo yispal arvis yispal shachris time yidam 2 shachris rak arav shachris yoyim. You're davening 2 shachris. So even though one is tashluma ma'ariv, the tashlumim can't be after the zman of shachris, can't be after the zman tefillah. So you zman tefillah shachris. Ta'anoi til aver zeh schar tefillah bizmana. Ma'ashen ginach arba shachris degrar schar tefillah zrachami. After Zman Tefillah, it's not considered a real Tefillah, just Tefillah Rachmi, it's not considered Tefillah Bizmana. King goes over Primi Gadim, Magini Bram, Derech Chaim. El, Shem Derech Chaim, Ha'isiv Davar Chadash. Shaloi Nizkru B'Shar Choinim, says Mishnah Beruraha. The Derech Chaim over here adds on Al Chedesh. That what? V'hu, Te'im, Gam B'Tefillah Shachris, Gufa Le'yisbal Arach Arbashah. He says the Derech Chaim, you missed Ma'ariv. Now you woke up late and Shachris is happening after the Zman. Then you're allowed to have a Tashlumim because L'maisa you're Isaac B'Tfilah. So that's if you miss Ma'ariv Yidamni 2 Shachris. Let's say you miss Mincha Yidamni 2 Ma'ariv, Yishem D'Mizal Ma'ariv Shtayim Rakat Chatzos La'ila. Similar, within the same vein of what we're discussing that you want to do within the Zman, the Hikr Zman of Ma'ariv is until Chatzos. She's man arrival after the Chatchila. Vayin Sham Derech Chaim Shkan the Oid Bezel Lacha, which we'll see the Dirshu in a moment. Apri Megadim Kasav Tizman Hashlama Tzilas Amin Chol Kol Leila Muda Shachar. The Pri Megadim argues and says you can be Masha Mincha the entire night. Vim Shachav Lo Yisbal Shachris. Let's say Meshachris Yidamni 2 Minchas. Yesh La Hashlama Rak Meisha V'Schal Zman Mincha. The time when Zman Mincha begins a half hour after Chatzos. V'Chatzi Shah Shachatzos. V'Gam Sheisbal Tfil Mincha Kaidem and Davin Mincha first and then Tashlumim. V'Nim Shach Zman Hashlama B'Diavad Ad Bein Hashmashois. Very interesting. It doesn't say Ad Hashkia. It says Ad Bein Hashmashois. Still, you have Tashlumim of Shachris. Kol Ze Yitaktim in Achronim Ladina. Lechatchila Yisrael Nachon B'Cholzeh. What's lechatchila? Says Mishnah Beruraha. Shem Lo Yisbal Take of Teisha Shama Achatilas Chayuv. If you didn't do it right away, Yispal Oiser B'Teres Adav. You should do as an Adava. Then she asked him, V'Yomer Ani Chayriz L'Chavas Yom Lav Ariz an Adav V'Chein Hiskim Apri Megadim. So halacha l'maisa, we're coming out with incredible halachas over here. If one missed a tefillah, you dam tashlum in the next tefillah. We learned that you have to add on ashrei and tachman. You have to wait a little bit. And now we're learning that the tashlumim has to be a piggyback. It has to be together with the chiyuv, the tefillah of the chiyuv. L'maisa, if one did not do that, until the zman of the tefillah, one is allowed to be mekel until tefillah zman shachris, until shkia, and until we'll say the whole night b'diavad. However, the chiddush of the Derech Hayim is if you're davening even the shachris very late, then there's makam to be mekel to daven the tashlum of shachris late of Meir of the night before late as well. Says note 34 over here in the Dirshu, talking about the Pri Megadim that you could have the tashlum of mincha during the entire night. The Pri Megadim holds Zman tefillah shon esri shel arvis is until aleisa shachar even lechatchila. This is a very big Pri Megadim. It's only Kriya Shema was geyser until chatzos. This is the reason that in any situation that one is not able to have a ma'ariv until very, very late, he should definitely say Kriya Shema. Once you say Kriya Shema early, according to the Pri Megadim, and eventually we'll learn the halacha, but definitely according to the Pri Megadim now, is the chatchila dam the whole night. Other folks can argue and say even Shemon Esrei should just be until Chatzos, but at least then you have the Pri Megadim and everyone else will work, and we'll pick it up Siyata Deshmaya from. Actually, let's just knock off a quick sif dalet to finish the page over here. Says the Machaber, Ein tashlumim el tefillah hasmucha bilvat. Tashlumim is only in the next tefillah. Shem tov los bal shachris v'loy mincha. Let's say you miss two. Misbal arvish time. You'd have a ma'ariv twice, which is what? One is ma'ariv and achron l'tashlumei mincha. Avol shachris, unfortunately, ein l'tashlumim v'chein b'shar tefillos. If you miss two tefillos, there's no tashlumim for the first one. There's only tashlumim for the nearest one. Says Mishmur if cut as Zayin Asmucha, Kasu Achrainim. Shein Tvilas Musaf Moil Ashlam Musaf doesn't help. Hainu. Shev Chazer Shachas Biyam Sheish Ba Musaf Loich Lashal Mispalel Musaf Shtayim. You have to have mincha twice. Ev Shachas Shachas Vispal Musaf. Vadayin offers man Shachris. Afilochi. Yispal Shachris. Even though you already daven Musaf, you're still allowed to daven Shachris if you're within the Zman. And I guess this could happen if someone shows up to shul late and by mistake davens Musaf before Shachris. Mishashachach v'lo yisbal shachris u'mosaf v'nizkar b'mincha yisal mincha v'acharav mosaf v'acharav shachris. Again, these are classical cases sometimes. That what happens, you woke up very, very late on Shabbos and you missed the whole tefillah. Some's mincha time, I didn't daven shachris. So now you daven mincha, always the chiyah first. After mincha, now you have a choice. Do I do my tishlum for shachris or do I do mosaf? Mosaf, you also have the whole day. Says Mishnah Beruraha, then you do Mosaf, and then you do Shachris. Mosaf koydem mincha, lamaisa yor yaitzev, v'lo mincha yitzayin, adin afilu misbal mincha, gam kin lich la'asha be'erev avur Shachris. Taklal, deloy teknu hashlam rak b'zan tefillah smuchala. Tashlomim is only for the tefillah that it's closest by. And we finish with Dirshu note 39 and 40 over here. First of all, in 38. Rosh Chodesh Chal be'erev Shabbos. Oh, this is always a good one. And then you didn't daven Musaf. And you're ready to Merkabel Shabbos. Says the Abba Shaul that you're still allowed to daven Musaf. A Chiddush. Even though you made early Shabbos, you're still allowed to daven Musaf. Number 39. What is the reason that Mincha comes first? Says later in Rish Vav, the reason is because it's Tadira. Tadir Vishino Tadir, Tadir, Koidem. But if you Lamaisa messed up and have a Musaf first, the Rama over there says you're Yaitze. Why? Because Tadir Kaidem is only a mitzvah lechatchila. It's never going to be ma'akiv, an important rule. Now, the next halacha is, so now you did your mincha. Then the Mishnah Beruraha says do musaf and then do mincha. Why? Says the El Yerabah, because it's still the zman of musaf. Whereas Shachris is only Tashlumim. So since it's the Zman of Musaf that goes into the category of being part of the Chiyuv. So if you miss Shachris and Musaf, you're going to daven Mincha, Musaf, then there's Tashlumim for Shachris with another Shemon Esrei. And we'll pick it up from Sifta Hey in the next year, B'siyat Hadishmaya.